Kui, midol tio kalu. Apuk te gnagweg, a de goedink. Beskude met niagiskog. A lada pegisi duweg. Dan dil hier megach, dan dil get meg. Dan de stet para dem koi. Aso de machanegis na bedel wogedink. Ula niagiskog pegisi dunin. Ula gemojel la wogeg. Acha dan dil hier. Dan wejiach. Good day to everyone today, good morning, and today again we are going to be talking about some legends and stories and sacred objects, and I brought with me today what I call a talking stick, and I use in ceremonies, and this is something that is a very important part of ceremony when we do ceremonies about communication. And this talking stick has a story as well on where it came from, and I'll try to give an interpretation about that. Fortunately, I have the person who carved the stick here today with us, Gilbert Sewell, and he presented this to me a while back when I used to travel from community to community and talking to elders and gathering information and knowledge about these ways, so that someday I may be able to share that with others who are looking for the same kind of information, whether it be with my people or in the schools. And so it has come to pass, and I have done that. I've gone to many communities where they had talking circles and brought this out and put it to use. This talking stick was carved by my cousin Gilbert Sewell from Pabino Reserve, Wolastoqi, and he calls me Bejuwig, and that is a place along the 7th district of the Grand Council system. There's 7 communities, and Wolastoqi is one of them, and that's where he resides, and he also carries on teachings and knowledge, information about traditional ways. And I used to visit Gilbert from time to time, and of course, you know, we'd tell stories to each other and of my experience in my travels and his experience in what he had learned, and this one time he had given to me this staff. There was another time where he also gifted me with a pipe, and that was made in the style of the Algonquin, and particularly the Mi'kmaq people, the way that pipes were made. And I still have that, and I use it when I do sweat lodge ceremonies. I didn't ask for it. It's just something that it came upon him to do, and he gave me this pipe. And also this stick, I didn't ask for this. He said you can use that. He must have known somewhere down the road that it was going to play a role, a very important role, and he must have trusted me with it, because I have respect for these things, and otherwise it would have been lost somewhere else for something else different. But it has helped a lot of people, and on this stick, he told me that it's made out of pine, and a pine tree, which is a tree that is used as a tree of peace and a symbol of tree of peace, especially for most Native American tribes. And it's just as well for our people as well. We consider the pine tree as a symbol of peace, and you get a peaceful feeling when you sit under a pine tree, and it's kind of a natural thing that happens for everyone. But it has a spiritual significance as well, because it has a way to dealing with certain things that are hard to deal with in our communities, which require a lot of meditation and thought, maybe. And it's almost like a place where philosophers would sit and gather the intellectual thinking of this world, and have answers come to them to resolve those disputes or these problems that are in our communities at times. The way we are as human people, we have emotions and things to deal with on a daily basis. So he told me the bear is a symbol of strength and medicine, and he said you are also connected with the Medicine Society, and you will be teaching about medicines, and these medicines are not just physical herbal medicines, but also mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And so he said on the top of this you'll see there is a cross that is carved right on the very top of it, and that represents the four directions. And of course it's circular, inside of a circle, which means the symbol, the cycle of life. That means it's continuous. There is no beginning and there is no end. And we need to bring these things back into our communities more, so that we'll understand how to respect each other as because we have different age groups in our society, and we have to respect the children. We have to respect the younger generations for who they are and what they do, know what that is. Respect the adults, in their roles and what they do to help out in the community. The elders and what their roles are. We have to get back to the family unit and what family is about. And this is the way that it can be done, because it doesn't require you to get a degree to do this. You can do this right at home. You can do this with your family and friends. It doesn't require any special contract or document. You can do this. And some people use a rock or an eagle feather or something that they call sacred objects, that is sort of like like a mediator, or a person can be a moderator and say, okay, we're going to start this and we're going to do it this way. We'll choose a topic we'll talk about, and start with that. Choose with one topic, and everybody goes around and talks about that, and it's controlling how the communication will be, but it also teaches every one of us how to respect each other when we are delivering information. And that's what communication is, and that's what this has become. And I've used this in a lot of talking stick ceremonies all across the country, and I've traveled out west with this and with other tribes and shared it in the same way. And as they pass it around, each one would stand up and say their own name now, English name, and their traditional or spirit name, and they would say that, and then they would continue on with, if the topic was about healing, if the topic was about traditions or the value of things today, and in comparison to how things were traditionally. And so we are struggling to revive traditional ceremonies. We are struggling to have a place for those things, and it shouldn't be. People should have a place for that. And I myself, because I've gone to universities with this, I've gone to police academies with this, and talked about the sentencing circle and the justice system, applying it and using it in some communities. Not all communities have accepted it yet, but I mean, it's doable, and not for any serious crimes, but menial crimes that can be dealt with in a community level. And It's a very important part of traditional values, and it should be known. And I hope with this recording that the people that are watching this recording will take it into heart and apply it in some setting where it can be appropriate. Hopefully with a traditional elder present to interpret and to explain further. This has been the story of the talking stick. I guess Piedoxi, I'm Sydney Liab. Now I have spoken my truth.
Dengakul Gilwendal Nabamak, how are you, my relations? I would like to talk about an eagle feather, the responsibility of carrying one, the responsibility of earning one, because feathers are earned. You'll notice the eagle feather is, there's one side that's wider and there's another side that's narrow. The elders tell us that in our earth walk, sometimes our path is too easy. The most difficult one to walk on is the narrow side. That's where all those temptations are. That's where all of those difficulties that we face are. And most people don't know how to walk on this side. They would rather walk on this side because things are easy or taken care of for them. But this is the side of sacrifice. This is the side of humility. This is the side where you know what forgiveness is. This is the side where you don't carry anger. You don't carry resentments. You don't know what hate is on this side. And over here, when we struggle with temptations in our life and addictions, we tend to stay over here. But this is the side that gives you the fortitude to keep your spirit strong, to be able to walk what we call the straight and narrow. Initially, when an elder recognizes that you're generous, or you're generous of time, you're generous of spirit, you're very protective of your people and others, an elder will notice that. For example, if you're at a gathering and you're a young person and you give up your seat without being told to allow an elder to sit, an elder will remember that. Another time you may be at another gathering and you may see that there's been a park that's been littered and there's a gathering there, and you voluntarily pick up the litter without being asked. An elder will notice that. When you're being told by your parents to do something and you don't argue with your parents and you say, I will do that, an elder will recognize that. Volunteering. When you see somebody at the grocery store struggling with a load of their groceries and you go up and say, can I help you to carry your groceries to your car? An elder will notice that. And when an elder sees lots of actions like that, then an elder will perhaps present you with an eagle feather about this size. I know my first eagle feather that I earned was about this size. And so the responsibility is you call on the eagle feather for wisdom. Some people will maybe put it in their hair, and an eagle feather, when it's facing the earth or facing down, is the teachings of humility. So we're supposed to wear our eagle feathers facing down, because once we've learned humility, then we can wear our eagle feathers this way. But we have to earn the right to have our eagle feathers like this, and that's why sometimes you'll see in pictures of chiefs and they have eagle feathers that are standing up. It's because they have been recognized by their community and their people of doing great deeds, of earning feathers for them to be, getting the direction from the spirit world. And you're tested. How you take care of a little one like this will eventually teach you how to earn an entire eagle fan like this. It takes many years of sacrifice, many years of ceremonial things, many years of maintaining what we call the good road, and good relationships with all people, not just your own family. You have to have really good relationships with all people. Most importantly, you have to have good relationships with all of creation. When I say all of creation, it means respecting the feathered ones, respecting what we call the winged ones, respecting the four-leggeds, respecting the ones who crawl or live upon the earth, respecting the ones who live in the water. And so that's the essence of being able to earn the right to carry eagle feathers. So there's lots of uses for eagle feathers. We use them in talking circles. And in talking circles, when we hold it in our left hand, it's to ask for the stories from your heart to be the ones shared, as opposed to the stories from your mind, because those two stories vary. Sometimes people in a talking circle, well, what can I say when it's my turn? But what's important, what people want to hear, is what's in your heart. So the eagle feather is held with the idea that you will only speak from the heart. And when you do that, it's always the truth.
What were the teachings our ancestors left us, you know, and that's where the lesson plans come in. And our lesson plans are the wampum belts. And there can be many interpretations to one belt. It almost takes a whole circle of people to come to the true understanding of what one belt is. It isn't just okay, I agree with this nation over here, we're going to make a belt and da-da-da-da-da. It is not that way. It is a spiritual ceremony. And not only are the physical people there, but the spiritual ancestors are there. That is why in the circle, in the center of the lodge, the wampum belts are not across. They are up and down. And they are there for us to read, although it's a language I'm not really familiar with yet. And it's between the physical people who are sitting there and the spiritual people that are above. Sometimes people call them angels, others call them, as we do, star people. It is a connection. And in the interpreting of the symbols that are on there, it cannot be just human beings to do that. It has to be between ourselves and spirit, because we live today. We don't live in the past. The belts are still valid, and I think that that's the important lesson now, is that they are still valid. We are recreating them because once they are recreated, guess what? The connection has been made again. We are renewing it. We are renewing it with our ancestors. And every time we have a ceremony like that, something wonderful happens. One of the things that happened last fall, sometime after the last Star Lodge, was the finding of a site here in New Brunswick that is around 12,000 years old. It was uncovered by a hurricane. You cannot tell me the spirits were not at work during that hurricane, because it just so happened after the hurricane, one of the people that recognized those artifacts just happened to be visiting the site and recognized them immediately. I do not have the eye of an archaeologist, but our stories about us being here for a long time are being validated by science, and our teachings are being validated by science, and our symbols, the ones that we live by. When I make my belt, that is not just for me, it's for my clan, it's for my children, my grandchildren, and my great-grandchildren. And the same effect that my cousin telling me she loves me is the same. It's that effect that's going to last somewhere in the brain, spiritually and physically, and heart-wise as well. We will be recreating family, recreating relationships, and to me, that is a good road to the future.
The drum for us is like the heartbeat of the nation. It pumps just like the heart. It's one hard and one soft. Yo ya hi ya hi yo ya hi yo ya hi ya hi yo ya hi yo ya hi ya hi yo ya hi yo ya hi ya hi yo. Thank you, Great Spirit, for the thunder in the sky. Thanks for the seasons which are a part of life. Thanks for the daytime and for the night. Thanks for the ways of our life. Yo ya hi ya hi yo ya hi yo ya hi ya hi yo ya hi yo ya hi ya hi yo ya hi yo ya hi ya hi yo. Abogonum winen dandeli ol nukta bigiadie. Abogonum winen dandeli ol nu amalkal doldie. Abogonum winen dandeli ol nu also demadie. Abogonum winen niskaminu mukta wanda sawalinen. Yo ya hi ya hi yo ya hi yo ya hi ya hi yo ya hi yo ya hi ya hi yo ya hi yo ya hi ya hi yo. Yo ya hi ya hi yo. I sang you one verse. Normally we sing 4 verses, one for each direction. And the other thing is, normally what has happened is you pray for a pipe, you pray for a drum, you pray for an eagle feather, you pray for different things. And when the time comes, it will come to you. That is a Micmac drum. I said the motif here on the drum, it shows born in the fetus position, your medicines through life, and then when you end up going into the spirit world, I said, then you're back into the fetus position, wrapped in birch bark and facing the east. And this very story is also told when we have sadness, like somebody's dying or something. You tell them, in the spirit world, what happens is when you're a baby, you come to this world and you're all new, you're brand new. There's nothing negative about you. Everybody is happy, everybody rejoices. And I said, then when we bring it to the community, what happens is the child is blessed, and then it's handed around. And when the child goes around, this one will say, okay, when you grow up, I'm going to teach you how to hunt. This other one says, yes, I'm going to show you how to make baskets and how to make craft. This other one show you, I'm going to teach you the spiritual side, and so on. It goes on, and everybody makes a commitment to that child when it's small, and it eventually goes through the blessing. It goes all around, and a lot of times the child doesn't cry or nothing. It just has, enjoys it. But like I say, this is made out of deer skin. Inside is made out of ash to make it light, and of course got a handle. This is sinew from the animal. Like on the back of a deer, there's sinew. These things on your wrist, these cords here, that's sinew. If you pound it out like that, you'll get strips of thread. And then we take the stuff that you pound and knock it off in it. We use that for glue. Same as this here, that white stuff inside of here is glue. How we make that drum is, I shot the deer, took the deer home, soaked it in salt water and soap. That's that soap you use for washing, and left it for 3 days. Then I took it out, and I took the ashes, hardwood ashes from the stove, and I put it all over the fur like this. Then I gradually bundled it. After I bundled it, I tied it. Then I turned around and buried it in the ground, and I put a piece of plywood on top, and I just drove my old truck on top of it, one wheel, so that the animals wouldn't dig it up. So then after, normally we use big rocks, they put them on top. So what I did after I took that off, then I got a round log peeled, and then what I did is I put the skin over it and started scraping it, and the hair all came out. The hair all came out. Then I scraped all the meat off, as much meat as I can, and then I started scraping the inside to make it smooth. But not only did I do that, then I soaked it back into the liquid again, and I washed it and wrung it out, and then I let it dry. And then when I was ready to make it, I cut a round circle, and then I fit it. And after I fit it, what I did is I start lacing it in the back. And once I got it all together like that, I let it dry, and it all pulled together. So when we use our drum, it's very important and very sacred. Now, customary is you're not supposed to lay anything on top of the drum. You're not supposed to let anybody handle your drum unless they ask your permission. Now, you can't, like some people say, people in their middle age carry all kinds of negativity, and you don't want that on your drum. You know, there is a certain protocol, and if you have a big drum, the same way. And after you finish, you put your drum down, you put your sticks on the side, but you don't put them on top of the drum. So you treat it with respect. And when you leave, you cover your drum. You cover it like I got a case now, or you cover it with a cloth. Sometimes I cover it with a big red cloth, and I leave. And I teach this in the schools. I tell them the proper etiquette of the drum. And like many of our other sacred objects, which I think they're going to talk about today, they will give you an indication as how to respect the drum. We not only respect one another, but we respect the items that we use. And we respect people using them, and also the songs that are transmitted by the drum. And if I wanted to give my song to my friend here, I'd say, Nida, you know, you can use my song. You can sing my song. It's well and fine. It's almost like a copyright, you know what I mean? You can use it, and like I gave you some pictures and whatnot, you're welcome to use it and share it with the community. Some songs are given to the community as a part of bringing them good luck and bringing them respect and bringing them understanding of the culture. So it's all interwoven into, it's almost like when you weave a basket. Everything is there and it's all put together. So when you see the drum like that, you just don't rush over and beat on it. You know what I mean? Now, I don't mind sometimes if the young people want to touch it and want to, what do you call it, and they don't know they're not supposed to. But the thing is, with the young people in school, I get the energy from the young people. And when the old people go by, they just hit the drum like this. They're like a little bit sassy. They know they're not supposed to do it, but I get energy from the elderly too. for doing that. But for the people in between, the middle-aged people, well, I say, okay, don't handle my drum, please. You know what I mean? I respect the drum, and there's certain things that I do with my drum, and I pray with it, and I help people, and I don't want you to you know what I mean, to bother my drum. So this is a little caption of stories about the drum. Now other people in other tribes have different stories, but this is mine, this is some of my teachings. Wolastoqi.
Waliwan, Walalin, thank you for watching.